Hello and welcome to Gameday U, Oklahoma's only weekly football pregame show on TV. I'm your host, Cam Williams, and I'm joined alongside my esteemed analysts, Michael Thompson, Hallie McPherson, and Andrew West. And Oklahoma made their first ever trip to the state of South Carolina last weekend as they took on the Gamecocks. We're going to pick it up on the first possession of the game, and Torrey Blaylock is going to scamper his way into the end zone from 18 yards out to make it 7-0 OU. Ensuing possession, another one on the ground. This time, Xavier Robinson scores from 10 yards out, 14-0 for the visitors. Third quarter now, and how about a 55-yarder that would have been good from 60, folks? That's Tate Sandell with the leg, 17-7 Sooners. Oklahoma now in the red zone, and John Mateer is going to fake the screen and throw a strike to Isaiah Satania for the 20-yard score. And that's not all he can do. Look at this pooch punt by Mateer to pin South Carolina at the 1-yard line. Great punt coverage by Elijah Thomas, downing it at the 1. And on the very next play, Marcus Strong is going to get the safety, and that's all she wrote, 26-7 Sooners. And the Sooners battled adversity coming into the South Carolina game after losing to Texas 2 weeks ago, and they came into Columbia ready to play, holding Lenore Sellers to 124 passing yards.
Yeah, Cam, well, I was harsh on the OU run game last week, but they looked like they had a fire under their you-know-whats. Torrey Blaylock had 45 rushing yards on the first drive of the game, and for context, Oklahoma only had 48 in the entire game against Texas. They looked like a whole different team, Cam.
Yeah, what Michael was trying to say is that their bottoms were on fire, including Xavier Robinson, stand-up Carl Albert High School. He had some big runs and found the end zone. Crazy it took this long to get him going. Maybe he was banged up, or maybe it's the same running back rotation nonsense as usual.
OU's defense is the best in the nation, don't get me wrong, but I saw so many yellow flags on Saturday. OU had 10 penalties for 98 yards. South Carolina's only touchdown came from 3 back-to-back penalties. If OU's defense cleans that up, they are unstoppable.
And one player who looked unstoppable last week was true freshman running back Torrey Blaylock. The phenom from Humboldt, Texas, led the Sooners in rushing with 101 yards, and he's getting more comfortable with his O-line as the season progresses.
It's good to know, it's good to see during the game when we're on the same page. You know, they'll make plays for us sometimes, and we'll open up sometimes for them so they can run. You know, so it's just like we're working together now. So it's definitely getting stronger. Starting at a SEC school, I mean, he's doing everything he possibly can. Obviously, there's always room to grow, but you know, he's young, so he has a lot of time.
John Mateer had a season-low 150 passing yards last week, and when you run the ball more times than you throw it, it's bound to happen. Dealing with a thumb injury no doubt makes it harder to play, and Mateer says that he has figured it out and he's getting back to 100%.
This is the second version of the wrap. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't thick, so it didn't keep my thumb off the ball, but it was fine. You know, it's healing, and updating Dr. Shin all the time. He's staying in contact, but yeah, it's healing well, and just eating right and doing all the recovery stuff that you got to do.
Michael, OU's run game took off because OU's offensive line had one of the best games of the season last weekend. Mateer was only sacked 1 time against South Carolina. Offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle gives credit where credit is due.
Accepting the challenge of just mindset and mentality of what that position takes, and it was constant throughout the week. It was constant in walkthroughs, us demanding it, the leaders of that group demanding it, carried over into practice, and you know, they took it to the game too. So all the credit to them.
OU is first in total defense and leads the nation with 75 total tackles for loss. This is a defense OU fans never thought they would see after the Mike Stoops and Alex Grinch era. While it's the guys on the field that make that happen, OU head football coach Brent Venables gives credit to everyone around him.
We've got an excellent staff. This is the best defensive staff that I've been on since I've been coaching, and I've been on a couple of really amazing staffs, but top to bottom, understanding of both the front end and the back end. This is a group that's full of a bunch of great teachers and motivators, guys that show up with passion and energy.
Great insight there from Brent Venables. The Sooner Schooner tradition remains a staple for the Crimson and Cream, and Gameday U reporter Darby McCormick has more on a special driver. Darby?
It's an iconic symbol to the University of Oklahoma, and now with an even more iconic story to go along with it. And I got that story for you coming up on Gameday U.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time. And she'd buy the same gifts over and over.
Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together.
It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We said we'd never give in to a meltdown.
Mariella!
Never leave the house looking, well, and never let them out of our sight. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
As the Sooners face Ole Miss this morning, a timeless tradition is remembered that has even better people who helped build it. Gameday U reporter Darby McCormick has more on a very special schooner driver.
When people think of OU game days, they have to think of the iconic Sooner schooner with it. It's a pivotal part of Crimson and Cream history, now having a little bit more history of its own with its first ever female and native schooner driver. Take a look at Brianna Howard's story.
It was like I almost blacked out for a second because I was so locked in. I was like, make this run. Just get as far out as you can and make them turn. Second time I've ever cried in front of people like that. I was so happy.
The ride that put Brianna Howard in the history books.
I didn't expect it to be this big. I guess it's just hard for me to see myself on that lens because I'm like, it's just me. Like, I don't know what's so special about me.
She is now the first ever female and native driver of the Sooner schooner.
My great-grandmother was in the Native American boarding schools, and that's something she doesn't talk about even to this day because it was so traumatic for her because they were trying to strip her of her heritage. So that's always been a big thing for me is to be proud of who I am and where I came from. It's been an honor to be able to represent my people that way.
But even as she drives her way into the history books, her reign on the reins has no effect on her way around the wagon.
Because it's almost like I forget how cool it is sometimes because like it's like a job. Sometimes it's like, okay, I got to lock in and make the run. I haven't really changed in my opinion from making that drive till now because I'm still who I am at the core. Like, yeah, this thing was great and I'm really proud of myself. But like now it's like, you know, I had my time. Now it's someone else's turn.
But even if these timeless wagon wheels keep rolling through history, there will always be the first ever female and native schooner driver. Reporting from Norman, Darby McCormick, Gameday U.
Thanks, Darby. As we mentioned earlier in the show, true freshman Tory Blaylock is absolutely stamping himself as the #1 running back in Norman. Gameday U reporter Chris Holman has more on Blaylock.
Cam, true freshman running back Tory Blaylock burst onto the scene after a stellar performance against Temple, and he's only gotten better since then. Blaylock ran for a career-high 101 yards against the stout South Carolina defense, but he says it was a team effort.
O-line, tight ends, receivers, everybody contributed to this performance. I also want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and just play the game I love. So it just feels good to be back out here on the good side of things, winning, back in the driver's seat.
I mean, he's a pro. He's such a young kid. But he comes in every day. He wants to work. He wants to get better. He takes coaching. To have that type of maturity as a freshman coming to college and playing that physical. You don't see that a lot.
You talked about his consistency, and I know I've talked about it before. Like, those weren't just one-off deals. It constantly doing the right thing. And when he does mess up, okay, he doesn't usually make the same mistake twice. And so I think that speaks to a level of maturity for a kid so young, too, to be able to take coaching, understand a mistake, and then fix it. And he does that at a high level. He just has a great way that he carries himself and his process, his preparation, his gameplay. And so, yeah, Tori's a stud.
After Blaylock's performance against the Gamecocks, he was awarded SEC Freshman of the Week for the second time this season, and Oklahoma fans will be hoping for another stellar showing from the true freshman in their homecoming game against Ole Miss. Cam, back to you.
Thanks, Chris. When we come back, we'll have more on this top 15 matchup with Ole Miss. Stick around for more Game Day U.
Welcome back to Game Day U. Ole Miss traveled to Norman for the first time ever this week, and they will be more often now that the Sooners and Rebels are a new annual SEC rival. I was at SEC Media Days and heard what Mississippi thinks about playing at OU for the first time.
I'm definitely excited. I really don't know what to expect about Norman, so that's why I'm most excited about it. And that's a tough football team over there, and it's always going to be a tough game when we play them. They're some tough football players, so I'm excited.
Not familiar team is kind of cool. You know, before it was traditionally like Alabama, now we might playing OU. So just being able to just create a new kind of rivalry is kind of cool. You know, I took a couple visits there in high school. I know they have a really fantastic stadium. Their stadium seats a lot of people, and I know they're going to pack it. So just being able to play in that environment is going to be really awesome.
Ole Miss has one loss so far into their season, and it was on the road in Athens last weekend. Now they travel to Norman for the first time ever, but the SEC environment just means more.
You guys that have covered the SEC for a while, you can have teams that aren't even having a really good year for them, but you got to go play at their place down here, and it's just different. Every week you got to really show up. It's really like the NFL, and I don't feel like that is the case in these other conferences.
Thanks, Hallie. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin is known for stirring the pot with his opponents, and that's exactly what he did this week, accusing OU of signal stealing on defense, quote, film study of signals. I'll just tell you how it is. I think they do a great job so if you study people really well and then you have enough confidence as a coach to go after those, that seems like what he does. Very controversial comments by Kiffin on Brent Venables ahead of today's matchup. And these Rebels come into Norman looking for consistency on the defensive side of the ball as they allowed 43 points against Georgia, with 17 of those coming in the fourth quarter and 510 yards overall against the Dogs.
Well, the OU run game really came alive in Columbia, and the Ole Miss D-line nearly gives up 5 yards per rush. So you can basically get a first down just by running the ball twice in a row. If OU can establish the run game again and kill clock, they can kind of play defense on offense just by keeping the ball away from the Rebels.
Michael, Ole Miss has the 8th ranked total offense with a dual threat quarterback and a highly skilled offense around him. Oklahoma will have to play their best defense all year today if they want to humble the Rebels.
Not only is Ole Miss 8th in total offense, but they are also 8th in passing offense. That is not a region Oklahoma has been tested in a lot. They got to make Trinidad Chambliss uncomfortable in the pocket. You don't want another Cam Coleman-esque game.
That's right, Andrew. And as a matter of fact, Cam Coleman's Tigers are headed to Razorback country this week as they visit Taylor Green in Arkansas in the early slate.
Well, I'm looking at the team that's at the top of the SEC versus the team that people thought would be at the top. Texas A&M has looked very good so far, and LSU has not won their big SEC games. Death Valley will no doubt be the toughest environment that the Aggies have played in this year, and I see an upset coming in Baton Rouge.
Texas almost lost last weekend in overtime to Kentucky, pushing them to 22nd in the rankings. And Mississippi State, unranked, barely lost to Florida by 2. This could be a closer game in Starkville than what the stats show.
Two of the most disliked men in college football go head-to-head today. Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia and Missouri's Eli Drinkwitz. Vandy is ranked in the top 10 for the first time since 1947. Plus, Pavia has that Kenny Powers mentality. Those Vandy goalposts will be on Broadway when this one is over.
Yeah, Andrew, Diego Pavia has that Vandy program on the rise, and he's a dark horse Heisman candidate as well. Coming up after the break, we'll break down some of the keys to a Sooner victory this weekend against Ole Miss. Don't go anywhere.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/act now.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Oh, right. Look at you taking the stairs. Who are you?
We're your lungs. We are proud of you for quitting smoking, but you still may be at risk for lung cancer.
A routine cancer scan can detect it early when it's more curable.
Good to know. Well, I gotta go somewhere.
So do we.
So do we.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Game Day U. Now, it's time for us to break down some of the keys to a Sooner victory versus Ole Miss. Starting off, I think this Oklahoma D-line needs to impose their will early against Ole Miss. Last week against the Dogs, Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss wasn't sacked once, but Georgia forced him outside of the pocket on numerous occasions, and he finished the game with his worst completion percentage of the year at 52%. Oklahoma leads the entire nation in sacks with 28, and best believe they'll get home on Chambliss at least once. I've got Oklahoma 24-17.
Well, it's like these teams are total opposites. Ole Miss has one of the best offenses in the country, but they get torched on defense. Oklahoma dominates on defense, leading the nation in many categories, including tackles for loss with 75, but they can't play offense consistently under Brent Venables to save their lives. The Rebels average nearly 38 points a game. The Sooners give up less than 10. The defense is going to have to play like the #1 overall defense, and if they do, I see a slugfest win for OU.
One of the most significant things OU's offense has been lacking in is their run game, but OU got their ground game going in South Carolina. The Sooners had 171 rushing yards, averaging over 4 yards a carry. It was also the second time all season that OU had a rusher go over 100 yards in a game, which was the freshman Tory Blaylock. Lately, OU's run game has been reminding me of the movie The Blind Side. Run the dang ball! And if the Sooners can, they notch their 7th win today against a tough matchup. Andrew, give me the Sooners by 3.
That is a great movie, Hallie, but I'll do you one even better. Pain heals, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever. Shane Falco said it best in The Replacements, but the same applies for John Mateer. We are now on the original timeline for his return. There was clear improvement last week in the pass game for Mateer, and with the run game maybe finding their stride, Mateer's going to be looking to hit his guys in stride once again. Chicks do dig scars, but they dig touchdowns even more. And while there won't be a lot of those, Mateer will get just enough to beat the Rebels 17-13.
Yeah, Andrew, the John Mateer needs to have a big showing for the Sooners to have a chance. Coming up after the break, we'll have some new faces on set, ready to make some bold predictions for this weekend's games.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/act now.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping. Got a few minutes? You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater. Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time.
And she'd buy the same gifts over and over. Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together. It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Welcome back to Game Day U, where some new faces are here in studio and they're ready to give some bold predictions for Week 9 of the college football season. With me are Ariana Smith, Gracie Stubblefield, and Oliver Schaefer. Ariana, we're going to start with the top 15 showdown down in Nashville, number 15 Mizzou at number 10 Vanderbilt. Who gets the win?
Through their first 7 games, Vandy is outscoring opponents 290 to 140, and the Commodores are ranked 8th nationally in scoring offense with 41 points per game. The Tigers are going to strum the guitar and sing the blues when Vandy beats them.
I like how you think, Ari. Both of these teams have a record of 6-1. It'll be a tough game, but Diego Pavia has proved he can perform in stressful situations. While Vanderbilt has been bottom of the barrel in the SEC for years, I'm going with the home team to come out with the win.
Yeah, I don't know, Gracie. After Scare and Jordan Hare, Drinkwitz and Prabula are hungry to prove the days of Mizzou are deep in the past. We all remember what happened last time Vandy appeared on Game Day. The Vandy feel-good story had to come to an end at some point. M-I-Z.
I like that pick, Oliver. Next, Mike Elko's third-ranked Aggies are traveling to Death Valley to take on Brian Kelly's 20th-ranked Tigers. What's the verdict?
Gracie, Oliver, let's go back in time, shall we? LSU's defense shows signs of being dominant at home while also looking to keep their 30-year win streak alive in Death Valley. There will be no luck for the Aggies tonight. Give me the Tigers.
A&M is looking to continue their undefeated streak today against LSU. The Aggies are having their best start since 1994, which is also the last time they won in Death Valley. If the 12th man can bring home a win, they'll break a long cycle of losing in Louisiana. I'm taking Reveille over Mike the Tiger.
I agree, Gracie. The Nuss Bus is all out of gas. Brian Kelly is 5-10 against ranked teams. I expect to go to 5-11 after he meets the buzzsaw that is Marcel Reed and the 12th man. Oh, did I mention the Aggies are averaging 464 yards per game? Gig 'em.
Flashbacks to the Manziel days for that offense. Next up is the battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. 25th ranked Michigan at unranked Michigan State and Spartanland. Guys, this one should be a good one.
Well, I hope I'm not going to be solo for this pick. Michigan is in pick central as they're ranked 4th nationally in interceptions and is 3rd in the turnover margin. The Wolverines are going to claw their way to the victory and with the Paul Bunyan Trophy.
I have to agree with you, Ari. Michigan has a 3-game win streak against Michigan State in this rivalry. The Spartans haven't won a single game in conference play, and I don't think that's going to change today. The Wolverines will be responsible for the fall of Sparta. Go Blue.
I don't know what you guys are thinking, but the battle for Paul Bunyan should be a good one, and I predict the Lumberjack to swing in favors of the Spartans. Michigan State hasn't won this battle since 2021. Aiden Chili's and company shocked the world in a nail-biter. Go green and white.
Bold pick, Mr. Schaefer. And lastly, the game of the day for Sooner fans. 8th ranked Ole Miss at 13th ranked Oklahoma in an early showdown at the Palace. Ariana, who gets the win.
While OU dominates in defense and is ranked 1 in sacks and in tackles for loss, Ole Miss leading rusher Kewan Lacey is explosive in rushing yards and in touchdowns this season. No sign stealing here, just good football. Give me hotty toddy.
OU did bounce back from a loss to beat the Gamecocks last weekend, but it might be a little more hotty toddy today in Norman. Lane Kiffin may think the Sooners are stealing signs, but I don't know if they're going to be able to steal the win. Give me Ole Miss.
Guys, are we watching the same football team? Ole Miss has the worst defense in the SEC. Ever heard of defense wins championships? Expect the D-line to feast and Mateer to put his name back in Heisman contention. Sorry, Lane. You won't need to steal signs for this one.
And guys, do you have any Sooner MVPs for this early morning showdown versus Ole Miss?
Ole Miss has something established that OU just started establishing, and it's the running game. I'm going to be watching for Kewan Lacey.
Ole Miss has one of the best offenses in the nation, so I have to go with the main man. Give me Trinidad Chambliss.
Give me John Mateer. That Ole Miss defense is looking like Swiss cheese after last week. I expect a huge game and to put his name back in Heisman contention.
I like that pick, Oliver, and I'm going to go with Isaiah Sategna. I think he makes his impact in the punt return game and returns a touchdown against Ole Miss. A lot of good games to look out for this weekend for sure. Thanks for watching Game Day U, where it just means more. For Ariana Smith, Gracie Stubblefield, and Oliver Schaefer, I'm Cam Williams. We'll be back next week when OU travels to Knoxville. Stay dry and have a great Sooner Game Day.